Good morning. Today on Spotlight, a conversation with Dr. Antoine Garibaldi, the 25th president of the University of Detroit Mercy. On June 30th, he will be stepping down as the leader of that institution, but he won't be leaving UDM or the city of Detroit. And later on our Sunday morning program, Keela Crane, Deputy Legal Director of the Michigan Department of State, and Joanne Chavez, Senior VP and Chief Legal Officer of DTE Energy, will join me to talk about driver's license restoration. It's Sunday, June the 26th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. In your tenure there as president of the University of Detroit Mercy, I know there have been a whole boatload of successes, but if you had to reflect back, what's been the single biggest reward?
Well, I would say that certainly the university is in much better shape financially and also much stronger as terms of our academic distinction around the country. And I'm very proud of the fact that we really are an institution that's much more community engaged than we had been in quite some time. And alumni certainly have rallied and have been very supportive of that engagement around the community in particular and throughout the state. And I think it's also one of the reasons why they contributed so handsomely to our $100 million campaign that we raised $115 million over about 7-year period.
When you took over the helm there, you said somewhere along the line, I think in one of your speeches, when you're talking about colleges, you said you have to go from good to great and to make sure that you survive and thrive. What did you mean by that?
So in 2011, the Detroit Future City study, for example, was underway. Nobody knew that within 2 years, the city would have to declare municipal bankruptcy. But we felt that we were strong enough that we could attract more students and also reclaim some of that recognition that we had many years ago. So that particular summer, I had been in the presence of Jim Collins, who wrote that book, Good to Great. And I used that as probably my convocation jumping off point and try to provide some encouragement and inspiration to our faculty and staff to say that if we're going to really be around for a long period of time, we just needed to work on some of those fundamentals.
After 11 years, what was it that made you say, okay, now's the right time to step down from that role and to start a new chapter?
Well, I actually had this conversation with Carol, my wife, about 3 years ago. So this was predating a pandemic. And when thinking about whether or not I would continue for another 5 years, I really thought that the university would be in good enough shape for someone else to succeed me. And I felt that all the goals that I had set, for the most part, had already been accomplished. The average tenure of a president today is between 4 and 5 years. And so the fact that I was able to do it here twice, double that time as I did at my previous institution, Gannon University, I just really felt that it was a good time to segue into doing some of the things that I wanted to do professionally, as well as continue to be very involved here in the city of Detroit and also at the university. So I'm not leaving the city, I'm not leaving the university. And I think it was a very personal decision, and also from a professional standpoint, that it was a good time to pass the torch on to my successor.
Sure. You were the first lay president of UD Mercy and the first African-American president, and one of, I think at the time you were named, there had only been 2 African-American presidents of Jesuit universities in the 200 some odd year history. Did that add particular pressure on you to accomplish your goals?
It did not. And the fact that I was the first African-American president at Gannon University was not a challenge there too. The fact that I am Catholic and have worked in Catholic universities for most of my career, with the exception of my 4.5 years as provost at Howard University, where I was also the first provost, that did not add any pressure. In fact, there are only there are a little bit more than 5 African-American presidents of the more than 200 colleges and universities today. And being the second Black president of a Jesuit university in the United States over 200 years, I took really as a great privilege, and also the confidence of my board of trustees, to look beyond race and also look beyond my past experiences, to say, I think you're the right person at the right time. I began my early years as a seminarian. So I was a seminarian for 8.5 years. So my vocation turned into a different vocation in higher education.
Right. All right, we're going to take a little pause for the cause. When we come back, I want to drill down on some of the specific accomplishments that you made, and also talk about what's next for Dr. Antoine Garibaldi. We'll be right back. Stay with us. If there's one thing a college president has to do, it's constantly raise money. When you took over, the endowment was $26 million, and by the time you finished, you were up to over $100 million. How did you do it?
Well, it was a process. Actually, my first 3 months here in the summer of 2011, I had a feasibility study done by a national consultant who is in the business of fundraising. And I had them talk to a number of our alumni as these feasibility studies go. And I wanted to get a campaign started as soon as possible, and with the support of the trustees. So that sourcing of individuals, both alumni as well as faculty and staff, was very, very important. Feasibility study came back and they basically said that you'd be lucky if you raised $40 to $60 million. And a part of that was, yeah, that's right. And part of that was because of the fact that the university had not had a campaign in a long time. And then we, unfortunately, had been going to the same people all the time, over and over again. And so they felt that in order for this to be successful, you really needed to make contact with more alumni. So, in a very, very few words, we said, I thought that the university with its 80 to 100,000 alumni could do better. So we put a $100 million goal on there. Right. And the trustees rallied about it, but I think as they began to see the progress of the university, that's why we began to receive so many gifts.
Dr. Garibaldi, in 2022, you took in your largest freshman class, and you also got a ranking of the highest ranked private institution of higher education in the state of Michigan. Those are two huge accomplishments. What was the secret?
Well, I think the secret is that we really have been building our academic base in order to attract more students. We've been much more aggressive over the last 5 or 6 years. When I came, in my first 2 years, we were 200 students short, particularly at the undergraduate level in both of those areas. But we did a lot of things along the way. We strengthened relationships with our Catholic schools here in the Archdiocese. We got out to all the schools. I visited just about every one of the schools in this area, high schools, during my first year. We also made a major decision about 6 years ago in 2017 when we reset our tuition from $41,000 to $28,000. So we know that our students were interested in coming to us, but when we would compete with the state institutions, we knew that we had to reset our tuition, and that has increased our applications exponentially. I mean, we're over 7,500 applications now compared to, we were very low at about 3,000 students. And that's with a declining number of high school students in the Michigan area in particular. We've all seen that, which is why there's been an increase. So everything from our marketing to making sure that we use our social media platforms as effectively as possible, and getting more students to the campus. And I would also say that we've invested $82 million in upgrades and some new facilities here on campus over the last 11 years. And those are things that do attract students to come to the university.
You expanded the curriculum and the type of courses that U of D Mercy was going to offer. I assume part of that was sort of trying to bring the university in touch with what the jobs of the future are going to be?
Well, I'll give a lot of the credit really to our provost, Pamela Zarkowski, and also the members of the faculty. one of the things we learned in higher education is that, the president's, unfortunately, I'm a former professor, is that the faculty really drive a lot of that. But we have conversations about it. We saw some
especially
great
those tenured faculty.
Absolutely. Tenured and non-tenured faculty members. So I was once there too.
Right.
But very definitely, I mean, one of the things that we did to our strategic planning process is we tried to look at, what are the jobs for the future? And here we're surrounded by so many of the automakers and so much technology. So, when we started a program in robotics, our College of Engineering and Science really were the first ones to get that started. And in a number of other professions, fields like the health professions, I could go through all 7 of our areas and schools and colleges and say that there's been great progress there. But, many students are looking at majors today that are very different from when you and I went to school, and even students who graduated 10 years ago. So we wanted to try to be really fit for the future and look at the opportunities that these students would have. So that's really the approach that we take.
You really embraced the community when you came in, the area in which U of D Mercy sits. You sat on numerous corporate boards.
My experience in all 3 of my previous institutions, Xavier, Howard, and also Gannon, was that you have to be involved in the community as an institution. And so all of the philanthropic boards that I've served on were boards that I thought really made a difference here in the city. And I had this great opportunity to meet Rip Rapson on the first day that I arrived at the Mackinac Policy Conference. And we share a University of Minnesota connection, a Minnesota connection, I should say. And when I told Rip about some of the things that I wanted to do, he said, the foundation would very much like to talk to you about your vision and what opportunities there. So I never imagined that we would have Live 6 Alliance created 7 years ago. The kind of engagement that we have in the community and in the city has always been there through our schools and colleges, through much of the service that's provided. But the opportunity to build on a relationship with this neighborhood that the McNichols campus is, as well as where the law school is and dental school. And now we have a campus in Novi it's going to be focused on health professions and law enforcement. Those were all great opportunities. So a university cannot be an institution unto itself.
What's next? I know that you're not leaving the university, but you're going to take a sort of step back and then jump back into it from a different perspective?
Sure. Well, first on my agenda is to write a book on my leadership experiences over the last 21 years, as well as those experiences before that. And there are a lot of things that I believe that people in the community, as well as nationally, need to know about how we took the university from where we were in 2011 to 2022. I also have plans to re-engage with some of the research that I began many years ago in both higher education, urban schools, teacher education, African-American males. And so I'm going to keep myself busy there and hope to do a little teaching and maybe even develop a class on leadership, as well as my discipline is educational psychology. And so I'm going to still be busy and with the civic boards as well as the national boards. And I'm going to be active, so I don't think that I'm going to be bored.
it doesn't sound like you're going to be bored.
No, not by any means.
Make sure you set some time to travel with Carol. Dr. Garibaldi, always a pleasure talking to you. Best of luck in the next chapter, and we look forward to meeting your successor, Donald Taylor. And coming up, attorneys Keela Crane and Joanne Chavez. We'll be right back. The new law to help people get their licenses restored after they've been suspended for whatever reason. How's that going so far? If you had to give it a grade, what grade would you give it?
I would give it a B, Chuck. Thank you again for having us. The legislature did a great thing for many Michiganders, about 350,000 Michiganders who are impacted by these laws. So a lot of them, like speeding, and parking violations are no longer going to suspend people's licenses, which really is important for many of us across the state because we are so very driving dependent. And so being able to be on the road to get their license back, having these suspensions and these reinstatement fees erased, thanks to the legislature, was a really leg up for many Michiganders. Several 100,000, of course, have more difficult road in order to get their license back, but it's a great start for them.
Ms. Chavez, I want to get you involved in this. A lot of people would look at this initially on the surface and say, okay, you're chief legal person for DTE Energy. Why in the world would a major corporation like that be concerned about this? This seems like a state government matter. And your answer would be?
My answer would be this is an incredible example of the private-public partnerships as well as nonprofits. It takes a village. And I think the reason it really does take all of the legal professionals who are so willingly giving of their time is because the law was a great change, but the process is still complex. And the people that we are really targeting together need a safe space to work together. And so they need the attorneys from across corporate, law firms, nonprofits to work together in conjunction with the Attorney General's office and the Michigan Department of State, so that we can make sure we get the most people possible to get their licenses back.
What's the major reason people find themselves in this predicament? Is it because of moving violations, or is it because of parking fines and court costs?
It's mostly moving violations and court costs. And really you get into a hamster wheel, right? So you may get one violation and you're unable to pay that off. And then previously you may have had a suspension, and then it just keeps on building. It's an economic issue for folks in that if they don't have a license, they still have to get to work. They still have to pick up their children. And so they roll the dice, and too often many of them get caught.
Attorney Chavez, you have these legal clinics. How did this all get started? How often are they, and how successful are they?
We did start earlier this year, and really, I think they're extremely successful. What I've experienced is that I sat down with several people and I was able to help them in conjunction with some of my fellow colleagues that were there that day, go to the mobile Secretary of State and walk out with their driver's license. Can you believe that? I think what I'd love your viewers to understand is these are all really good people, really good people. And I think this is such a unique opportunity for us to help them. I'll tell you, I looked at these transcripts and, I've read many of different, I'm a tax lawyer, I've read tons of different transcripts in my career, and this is more complex than the IRS. Really? So to be able to figure out where you start is horrendous on their own. So I would say that these have been extremely successful. We're hoping to have at least another 6, in conjunction with all of the various nonprofits, Miller Canfield, Access for Justice, in addition to Ms. Crane's office, as well as the Attorney General's office. So, and what's really great is we're taking them throughout the state.
We need to get a quick little break in here. We'll come right back with more questions right after this. Joanne Chavez, do you have enough attorneys for all these different clinics that go across the state? And is this volunteer pro bono stuff that they do, or do you have to come up with the funds to be able to pay them for all this, or a combination?
No, this is all volunteer. And it's also in conjunction with all of the local legal aid offices in the various locations that we go to. And you know what? There has not been a shortage of attorneys at all. I've been pleased to see with all the various partners really bringing out full resources to bear. Of course, I will still put the plug in that we always can use more help. Sure. We've partnered with many of the corporate offices as well, in addition to various law firms.
Chuck, if I may, I just wanted to highlight Wendy Richards from Miller Canfield in the Detroit office, who's been our phenomenal legal recruiter. She's a counsel and pro bono attorney there at Miller Canfield, who's been reaching out to some of the legal teams from across the state to help us get those attorneys that Joanne was just talking about.
Ms. Chavez, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what do you hope we would have accomplished in terms of big picture from all of this as a state?
I think a big picture as a state that we have all those that want to drive, are able to drive, and need to drive on the road, right? They're going to be responsible. Many of them will have learned their lessons, and they won't be penalized for some basic needs that they have. So, I go back to the hamster wheel. I met several people who had their moving violation, within a year of getting their driver's license, their first driver's license. And then they needed to get to work. So they couldn't afford the initial fines, and it kept spiraling out of control. And this young woman we had met was 6 years, probably 22, 23 years old, and still needed to go to work, but had no transportation.
Sure.
Legal
just trying to get started.
Yes. And so I hope that we are going to educate everyone, help them not get penalized. And, we're going to have everyone, again, that needs to be employed and wants to be employed and care for their families able to do this and not have this be an obstacle. This is one of those things that we're going to be able to hopefully remove a significant barrier and really make sure that Michigan is inclusive and it enables everyone to be their best selves.
Sure. Attorney Crane, I'm going to give you the final word on this. If people want to get more information, what's a quick way they can do so?
Sure. If you go to our website, michigan.gov/SOS, and you can search for Road to Restoration and find out when the next set of claims are coming up.
Very good. All right. Keila Crane, Joanne Chavez, thanks so much for joining us on Spotlight today to talk about this very important story to our community. And hopefully people will access that website and get a whole lot more information. And we appreciate all that the both of you are doing from your different corporations and the state of Michigan. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the Spotlight. We hope you have a great week.